Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. We will start with a rolling Om chanting to center ourselves. Start at your own pace, end at your own pace, and we'll just keep an Om going here for a minute. Welcome to this third, and I will not say final session on Ashtavakra. For those who keep reading Ashtavakra, of course you will continue to read Ashtavakra. And for those for whom it was the first taste of Ashtavakra, I hope you get addicted to Ashtavakra. There cannot be anything better than this. Today, we're going to have more time for Q&A at the end. I've been promising time for Q&A, but I always overrun the time for speaking, so less and less Q&A. But today we'll definitely get more time for Q&A. What are we going to do today? Today we're going to enjoy ourselves. The hard work is done. Today is payday. We're going to finally read some more of Ashtavakra and immerse ourselves, marinate, let it sink in. We studied just 4 verses of Ashtavakra. The first 2 verses we studied told us that we are not the body, not the mind, we are pure consciousness. The witness consciousness. Sada Sakshi, ever the witness, never the witnessed. Bodhatma, the consciousness self. So that was the first day. On Friday we saw that. Yesterday, we saw that what is the relationship between consciousness and everything else? What is the relationship between awareness and the objects of awareness? If I am consciousness, what are these other people? What are these other objects? What is this entire universe? And we saw yesterday it is nothing other than consciousness. So that's where we are at right now. Now we'll see the benefits of all of this. I'll first read out the verses, which we did on Friday and on Saturday, and then go ahead. This is from chapter 15 of Ashtavakra, verses 4, 5, 6, and 7. Na tvam deho na te deho bhokta karta na va bhavan chidruposi sada sakshi Nirapeksha sukham chara. You are not the body, nor is the body yours. You are not the doer nor the enjoyer. Often bhokta is translated as enjoyer, but literally it means the experiencer of pleasure and pain. Bhoga is the experiencer experiencing pleasure and pain. So it could be the enjoyer, but it's more often the sufferer. You are not the enjoyer or sufferer. You are not the doer of deeds. You are consciousness itself, the eternal witness, sada sakshi, always the witness. And free. Go about happily. Ragadvesho manodharmo namanaste kadachana nirvikalposi bodhatma nirvikara sukham chara. Attachment and abhorrence, attraction and repulsion, they are attributes of the mind. The mind is never yours. You are intelligence itself, free from conflict and changeless. Go about happily. This is even more radical, extremely important, that not only we are not the body, we really don't literally think we are the body. And we think we are embodied. We behave and act as if the body is primary. But we all feel like persons. We don't feel like bones and flesh and blood. We feel we are persons. We have thoughts and emotions and ideas and plans and memories and regrets and a story. So the text is saying you are not the person. There's this saying I like very much. I don't know what the source is. The person is never going to be free, but you can be free of the person. Not that the person will disappear. Like a suit of clothes, it will remain. It's the clothes we wear. In fact, the word person means mask. It comes from the original persona, which means the masks that Greek actors used to wear in ancient Greece. And they would speak through those big masks. There are holes in them, so through which the dialogues were spoken. So persona, sona means sound. And from that comes the word person. It literally means, originally, etymologically, historically, it means a mask. So when we read about personality development course, it's a mask development course. It is not you. It's a mask or the masks which we put on. You are not it. You are not the mind. You are not the mask. Which means the characteristics of the mask are not yours. Its thoughts are not yours. Its likes and dislikes are not yours. They do not define us. Its memories, its grudges, its litany of problems and complaints, they are not ours. A great master, Swami Ranganathanandaji, who was the 13th president of our order, he would say, no grumbling. If you think you're enlightened, you lose the right to grumble. That's one thing no saint, no enlightened person in any civilization, in any religion, in any tradition ever did, that grumbling. That belongs to the mind, and that to a very unregenerate mind. Not ours, not yours. Nirvikalposi bodhatma, nirvikara sukham chara. Always of the same nature, consciousness. The mind is always flickering. You are bodhatma, a beautiful name. Consciousness itself, the consciousness self. Often when these fancy terms are used, Sanskrit terms and philosophical terms, there's a downside to it. One might think or say, yes, my bodhatma, my atma is fine, but I have many problems. Atma means the self, it just means you. Then we go on to verses 6 and 7. Sarva bhuteshu chatmanam sarva bhutani chatmani vijñāya nirahankara nirmamastvam sukhi bhava. Realizing the self in all and all in the self, free from egoism and free from the sense of mine, be happy. So here is moving into non-duality. Right now, what we did in these two earlier verses, 4 and 5, I am not the body, I am not the mind. I am pure consciousness. Distinguishing pure consciousness, the awareness, self-consciousness, from the body-mind. This is, if you remember the metaphor of drawing water from the well before you spread it across the fields. So this is drawing the water from the well. You're not the body, not the mind. But now the question arises, all right, I am pure consciousness, I'll grant you that. But then what is the body? What is the mind? What is this world? What is the other? And the answer from Vedanta is even more stunning. I mean, first answer is stunning that you are pure consciousness. And this is even more stunning. The other is not another. It is you, the pure consciousness, appearing to yourself. So it says, in all beings you see yourself. The same consciousness in all beings. And all beings, the bodies, minds, the entire external world, as appearances in that pure consciousness. You, the consciousness, you appear to yourself with many names and forms, a network of names and forms, the entire universe. The next verse makes it clear very poetically. Vishwam spurati yatredam taranga iva sagare tattvam eva na sandeha chinmurte vijvaro bhava. Imagine the universe as waves in an ocean. And in an ocean, waves are coming up. And this is the entire universe. Then what is the ocean? Just water. What is that water? It's pure consciousness. It's you. You are the ocean. Not all of us taken together. Just you. And the entirety of the universe, the world, the body, the senses, the mind, the personality, all of them are appearances in this ocean, limitless ocean of pure consciousness, which you are. Vishwam spurati yatredam. This idam vishwam, this universe, shines, appears like waves arising and subsiding in an ocean. Tattvameva, you are that ocean. You are the very water of that ocean. You are this consciousness, this oceanic consciousness in which the universe, the drama of this life and all other lives, they play out in that ocean which you are. Tattvameva, you are that. Echoing the Upanishadic, Tattvamasi, you are that thou art. What is that? Chinmurti. The murti means form. Of course, consciousness is formless. Chinmurti means the form of consciousness, which basically means pure consciousness, formless consciousness. That is what you are, Chinmurti. Physical body has a shape. A murti is basically an image of divinity. You are the divinity, but you're not out of shape. After all, you're yogis. So you are in shape. But what it means is consciousness itself is limitless. It is without form. And that itself is the form of consciousness. And it appears in all forms. As a man, as a woman, as a child, as the old, as the young, as animals and plants, as the grass of the fields, as those trees out there, the mountains and the sky and the sun, planets and stars and little particles, all of them are names and forms in this endless ocean of consciousness. And you are that endless ocean of consciousness. So this is where we are at. Now let us go forward. I'm going to start reading what Ashtavakra has said. The next verse is again very interesting and very hopeful for all of us. Shraddhasva tata shraddhasva natra moham kurushva bho jnanaswarupo bhagavan atmatvam prakrite paraha. Have faith, my child, have faith. Never confuse yourself in this. You are knowledge itself. You are the Lord. You are the self. You are beyond nature. Now what's going on here? Suppose someone says that, yeah, all this is fine, I sort of get it, but it's too much reasoning, too much logic, 5 arguments, changing, unchanging, those who have heard it, the discussion day for yesterday, changing, unchanging, the seer and the seen, consciousness and not aware and not aware, the inner and the outer, the one and the many, and therefore you are not the body, therefore you are not the mind. It's too much argumentation, too much logic. Do I really have to do all that argumentation and that logical reasoning, and then it's too much work? Then Ashtavakra says there's a straight way. You can bypass all of that. What do you have to do? Just believe me. Just believe me. Have faith in me. Just believe that you are pure consciousness. Yeah, just faith. Believe. You know, about faith is something funny. In Advaita Vedanta, we claim this is one thing that is not necessary. Faith, belief, is the way of devotion, bhakti. The way of love, devotion, adoration, belief in God, belief in a deity. There you must have faith, otherwise it will not work. Ultimately, it will culminate in experience. But the path of devotion, bhakti, worship, the dualistic path, the theistic path, it is primarily a path of faith, of belief. And in contrast, we say the path of yoga, it's not faith or belief, but it is experience. You sit in this way, you breathe in this way, you visualize in this way, you focus, and you attain different states of meditative absorption, various samadhis, and you will experience it for yourself. Vivekananda was very empirical that way. He said, if God exists, I should be able to see God. If I have an immortal soul, I should be able to feel it. A very empirical way of putting something for an empirical age. We want experience. We don't want to say that you have to believe it. We want to see for ourselves. That's one way. That's the yogic way. There is the bhakti way, the devotional way, which is faith-based. There is the yogic way, which is practice and experience-based. But then there is this, which is insight-based. See, even in the yogic way, you'll have to say that, practice it. How long? Pretty long. How easy is it? Not at all easy. It's difficult, strenuous. The Yoga Sutras themselves say, this yoga practiced assiduously over a long period of time, consistently. You can't say, yeah, long period of time, check. I have been practicing for a long period of time, maybe once in a year or once in 2 years. No. Every day, consistently, over a long period of time. Then, the yoga of meditation. Then you get the results. Whereas, we claim in this path of knowledge, it's not a faith-based approach. It's not even a practice and some results to be attained at the end of the road approach. Rather, we're talking about something existing right here. And this is a pointing out approach, an insight approach. You inquire in this way. You walk with me, reason, walk with me, investigate into your experience. Which experience? Daily experience, quotidian experience, something that's always, all the time available to us. This body. Who does not experience the body? Here's the body. This mind. Who does not experience the mind? Here's the mind. That's what we need to experience. Waking, dreaming, sleeping. Who does not wake, dream, or sleep? So there it is. All of us have it all the time. Just investigate into that. Or in the Taittiriya Upanishad, the 5 layers of the human personality. The Annamaya, the physical. The Pranamaya, the pranic. The Manomaya, the mind. The Vijnanamaya, the intellectual level. And the Anandamaya, the bliss sheath or the causal level. Who does not have them? We all have it right now. Investigate that, and you will find the truth that you are Bodhatma, you are the witness consciousness, the consciousness self. Okay, that's interesting. How do I investigate? There are very clearly laid out, well-marked, well-lit paths. We did some of that day for yesterday. Yesterday, that experiential knowledge session that gives you a template into how to investigate, a procedure. And you will find the truth of this already existing. But now, so that's the claim. So it's not a question of believing something. Just because I say so, you have to believe you're pure. In fact, you must not believe. Because if you do believe, it will not work for you. Positive affirmation. I am pure consciousness. I'm not the body, I'm not the body, I'm not the body. And the moment you feel hungry, okay, time for a lunch break. A masala dosa break. And then back to I'm not the body, I'm not the body. It will not work. One must come to see for oneself. The body, its hungers and appetites, they are objects. I am the subject. They are object, I am awareness. They keep changing, I am the unchanging. Therefore I am, not them. I'm not denying them. I'm not denying the body. I'm not denying the hunger in the body. But I am not it. I am the witness of that. That becomes clear only after investigation, not by trying to force it. But now, Ashtavakra is saying just the opposite. He said that option of belief and affirmation is also open to you. After all, why not? You are it. There's only the thinnest of veils between you and the ultimate truth about yourself. So if you affirm it, if you stick to it, if you strongly believe in the truth of this claim, you will make the breakthrough. In fact, at the very least, Vedantic understanding will come much easier. Vivekananda also would say the same thing. Tell yourself again and again, I am that. That meaning, that pure consciousness. Tell yourself again and again strongly, I am that, till it tingles with every drop of your blood. This is the way to realization. So this is what Ashtavakra is saying here. This repeated, holding on to it. Fail 1,000 times if you must, but try one more time again. Say again and again, assimilate the truth, live from that position of truth, and try to see if it works or not. At first it may not work, very soon it will start working, and the results are amazing. And you didn't have to go through too much argumentation, too much philosophizing. So he says, Shraddhasva tata shraddhasva. Believe in this. My child, believe in this. Do not be confused on this point. Matra moham. Literally it means do not be deluded on this point. Don't fall back into thinking, I am the body, I am the mind, I am this little creature. There is this tremendous power, this limitless spirit within us which is shining forth. The power of faith, the power of belief, it's not usually something you talk about in Advaita Vedanta. It seems to run contrary to that. But here Ashtavakra acknowledges it. It's a great power. It's a tremendous power. Children have it. It's something that you absorb in your pre-critical age that remains with us for our whole lives. Swami Vivekananda says in another place that tell this to children, for they can understand it. We think not. We think, oh, so much logic and argument. He's not talking about the logic and argument. You don't have to tell that to children. You have to say just the core truth, which Ashtavakra is repeating again and again. You're not the body and mind. You are not this body and mind. You are awareness. You are consciousness. You are limitless. You are all-powerful. You are all-positive. You are light itself. Is it hypnotizing yourself? Vivekananda says, no. It is dehypnotization. It's dehypnotization. All of Vedanta is this. We have hypnotized ourselves. We have to dehypnotize ourselves. In technical terms in Vedanta, this is called adhyaropa apavada. Hypnotize, dehypnotize. How does it work? Let me give you two stories which I like. It's a story of the donkey and the rope, and the story of the silly disciple and the plants. So the donkey and the rope. There's this washerman. You have to think of an Indian washerman who collects the laundry on his trusty donkey, the ass, and brings it to the riverbed and cleans the clothes, and then loads and dries it on the riverbed, and then folds it neatly and puts it on the donkey and takes it back and distributes it back to you. Now one day, this poor washerman comes to the river to wash the dirty laundry, and then realizes to his horror, he had forgotten to get the rope to tie the donkey with. And now he has no time. If he goes back to the village to get the rope, the day will be over and he can't wash the laundry. He's poor. He has to do the job. But if he leaves the donkey without tying it, the donkey will wander off and he'll lose his only mode of transport. What is he to do? He is in a dilemma until, the learned landlord of the village walks past and says, "Why are you looking so worried, my friend? This is my problem, sir. I don't know what to do. What do I do with the donkey? I'll be working all day on the river, and this fellow will wander off, and that's it. I am in great trouble." And the landlord said, "Don't worry. It's a donkey after all. How intelligent could it be? It's stupid. All you need to do is just go through the motions of tying it to the tree. Is that all? Yes. And the washerman says, okay. And he pretends to have a rope, and he pretends to put it around the neck of the donkey. The donkey is watching. And then he brings it to the tree and ties it, acts as if he's tying a rope to the tree, and the donkey is watching. And then he slowly steps back from the donkey, carrying the dirty laundry, and the donkey watches him go. And as far as he can see, when he's working all day at the bank of the river, he looks back, and the donkey is munching away on the grass and not moving from that spot at all. Now in the evening, he's very happy. How wonderful the solution. He comes back with the clean laundry and loads it on the donkey. Let's go. And the donkey doesn't move. Let's go. Come on. The donkey doesn't move. Hut, come on. No. And now he's in trouble. If there was a real rope, he could have untied it. But there is no real rope. What could he do? So he runs to the landlord's house. Sir, you put me in serious trouble. Now what do I do? The donkey refuses to move. He said, my dear man, just pretend to untie it. And so he goes back and he pretends to untie the donkey, and the donkey moves. And that's Vedanta. We think we are bound, all the time being limitless consciousness. And Vedanta pretends to untie us and says, here, you're free. And we say, yeah, I'm free. Oh, right, I'm enlightened. I'm pure consciousness. Thank you, Mr. Vedanta. I'm free now. You always were. You just didn't see it. And then there's the story of the silly disciple. So disciple, seeker, comes to the spiritual master and says, oh, master, teach me, what is space? We are in the space tent, huh? What is space? And the master says, that's what you want to know? Yes, I want to know what is space. Right there. He says, here? Yes, right in front of you, that's space. But that's the garden. No, behind that. Well, that's the fence. And then the master says, I see the problem. All right, you stay with me. I'll teach you what is space. And he gives him a lot of work. You tend to the garden, plant sunflowers and stuff like that, and water the plants every day and do work around the ashram. And over time, the sunflowers, they grow, and they grow pretty high. They were very high, covering the front of the ashram. One day, weeks later, months later, the teacher says, oh, disciple, here is the sickle. Go and cut the plants. Which one? All of them. Fast, do it quickly. And he does it quickly. He works very hard. All day long, by the afternoon, he's exhausted, but all those big sunflower plants are all cut, cleared. And the teacher says, see, O disciple, see, space. So now he says, I see. See, what did he do? He filled up the space with all these plants. Now they're all covered. And suddenly he removes all of them. And the space which was already there becomes obvious. So he filled up the space and emptied it. And so the space which was there became obvious. He didn't understand what space was. Now he gets it. Similarly, pure consciousness, it's filled up with body, with mind. And here comes the Vedanta master and gives us the sickle. What is the sickle? Not this. Neti. You cut, get to work. 5 reasons why I am not the body. 5 reasons why I am not the mind. Work. And suddenly you see, when it's cleared, not the body, not the mind, yet I am, then what am I? I am this awareness, this space. In fact, we'll see, Ashtavakra will say this consciousness, pure consciousness is space. And it appears, Chidakasha, the space of pure awareness. That is what I am. So, Ashtavakra says, just believe in it. You are already it. If you affirm it, it will come to you in a flash. You don't even have to go through 5 reasons for that and 5 reasons about that and this argument and that logic. No. Moving on. Come to verse number 9 and 10. This is the payoff. What is the result of all this? Look at the wonderful result. Gunai samveshtito deha tishtatyayati yati cha atma naganta naganta kimenam manushochasi. This body composed of the products of nature, the 5 elements or the 3 gunas, space, air, fire, water, earth. Or if you go to the periodic table, I don't know how many elements are there, 180, 170 or something. A chemistry PhD can tell us. And or the 3 gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas in the Sankhya cosmology, whatever. These are all products of nature which go to make up the body and the mind. The body is born and it falls apart. Anything put together will fall apart. That which is compounded will fall apart again. Gunai samveshtito deha tishtati yati ayati cha. It exists now. It's aging, but still there. But yati, one day it will go. It will fall apart. It will die. Oh no, what will happen then? It will come back again, don't worry. Or you rather should be worried. It's going to come back again. Another body will come. It will be replaced. The manufacturer will replace it very soon. Yati cha. But you are neither coming nor going. You are not that which arises, which is born, which comes, or which departs, which dies. Atma naganta na aganta. Kimenam manushochasi. Why are you worried? Why do you sorrow? Why are you scared, anxious, terrified of death? You will not go anywhere at all. Let me do the next verse and then we'll talk about it. This is also about death. Dehastishtatu kalpantam gacchatvadhyaiva vapunaha kva vriddhi kva cha vahani tava chinmatra rupinaha. Let the body last to the end of the kalpa cycle, or let it go even today. Where is there any increase or decrease in you who are pure intelligence or pure consciousness? Here is the attitude of the Advaitin. If the body were to die today, it is nothing to me. Imagine the courage, the absolute equanimity, the serenity of such a mind. Contemplating one's own death today, it is nothing to you. It is nothing to me. So does he have a death wish? Does he want to die? No. Let the body persist till the end of the ages. Get an immortal body. Immortal in the sense it will last for thousands of years, suppose. Or more reasonably, maybe for 100 years. Let it live to 100 years. It is equal to me. A long, long life. Oh, how nice. And dying today itself. Both are equal to me. It is nothing to me. What a wonderful attitude to live with. This is why Ashtavakra is often attractive even to people who are not trained in Advaita Vedanta. They may not know the 5 arguments for this and the 5 arguments for that, but they just like the wonderful attitude. Let the body live for 100 years. I'm all right with that. Old age, maybe disease, maybe decline in old age, suffering, I'm willing to face that. Let the body die today, gone, next moment. It's perfectly all right. That attitude. Dehastishtatu kalpantam gacchatu adyaiva vapunaha. Let it go today itself. Kva vriddhi. What is your gain? What is your loss? If the non-dualist says, if the body persists for 100 years, what gain is it to me? I am this limitless consciousness. It's like saying, I am this limitless ocean, and a big wave comes up which goes on for a long time. The ocean is not increased thereby. The water remains just the water, whether it's in a wave which lasts for a long time or no wave at all. Or a little wave comes up and it subsides almost immediately. The ocean does not lose anything. Kva hani? What loss is there to you, the ocean? Nothing at all. It's only when I limit myself, I am this and nothing else. And nothing else. Then we get scared. Then there is, as the Upanishad says, bhayam bhavati. There is fear, anxiety. See, death is the biggie. Is the big one. The Buddha, when he set out on his quest, in the story of him, the young prince Siddhartha going out on a ride around the city, what does he see? the sights, the 4 sights he saw. The first one was a sick person lying sick on the side of the road. What's wrong with him? He asks his trusty chauffeur, the charioteer. Oh, Prince, he is sick. Sick? What's that? Disease. It comes to everybody. Everybody. Yes. My parents, his mother had passed. His father was there. My father. Yes. My own wife and child. Yes. Me too. Will I get sick? I guess so. Someday or the other, people, everybody gets sick. Then they go further and they see the old person tottering with a stick. What's wrong with him? He's old. Does everybody get old? Yes. And my father? Yes. My wife and my child, my baby? Yes. And me? Yes. I too will get old. Yes, Prince, you will get old. And then finally they see a dead body being carried along. And what's that? What's wrong with him? He's dead. Is everybody going to die? Yes. My father, my wife, my baby? Yes. I? Yes. Oh, Prince, unfortunately. Everybody's going to die. And then they see the monk walking across. Who is he? What's he doing? He's in search of enlightenment to overcome all these problems which you just saw. Old age, disease, death. So that's what turned the Prince Siddhartha into the Buddha, the quest. Remember, not just for himself. He was a young prince in the prime of life having a great time. But for all of humanity, everybody, but everybody else, we face old age, disease, death, the big ones. And among them, the biggest is death. Can you overcome death? And the answer, not only of Buddhism, not only of Vedanta, the answer in every spiritual path, which is at the core of every one of the world's major religions, the answer is yes, yes, yes. You are that immortal being which does not die. Call it the immortal soul, the Atman, Brahman, whatever. Our real nature transcends death. And all of religion basically says this one common thing. See, all of religion, at the very minimum, there'll be one thing, that the one feature will be death is not the end. If it does not say that, then it's not a religion, it's materialism. Ernst Becker, he wrote the book Denial of Death. It won a Pulitzer Prize. He was a psychoanalyst. He said that is the great, overwhelming fear, the prime source of anxiety and even motivator in our lives. Death. Now one might say, no, I don't spend time thinking about death. I'm not worried about death. I am rather like Ashtavakra. I don't care. You do. You remember, Ernst Becker is a psychoanalyst. So if you say something like that to a psychoanalyst, he'll say, exactly, that's what I'm talking about, the denial of death. You can't escape a psychoanalyst. Old Freud, he was a clever old one, that one. So if you say, I have no problems, very serious problem. You are suppressing everything. You are repressing everything. So this is, and Ernst Becker says, we are repressing it. But you can't repress things, in the classical psychoanalysis. If you repress something, it will manifest in peculiar ways. In fact, once Freud went on a lecture tour of the United States, and he was giving a talk about this suppression of motivations, desires, instincts, and how they manifest in our lives as strange behavior, as psychosomatic diseases, as complexes. So the lecture was so full, it seems that there were people who did not get seats. So they were outside the hall banging to get in. And Freud said, it's exactly like that. This is a true story, an anecdote. He said, it's exactly like that. You may shove it outside the realm of our consciousness, but it will not go away. It will bang on the doors trying to get in. And it will show up in various different ways in our lives, as our little eccentricities and up to the big ones like psychosomatic diseases and perversities and so on. Death is like that. If I don't think about it, don't think it's gone. It's right there. And Ernst Becker points out something. He says it's the prime motivator. All we are doing in life is trying to run away from death. He said, no, we are not. Yes, we are. He calls these immortality projects. Trying to survive death, we engage on these big projects in our life. This is quite apart from just eating, which is also to survive death, and the basic minimum things. But all the things we do thereafter, he says in life, all the things you do thereafter is running away from death. The first and most common thing is having children. The way to prolong myself, the instinctive way which nature gives us, is I will continue in my children. You won't, because I think I'm the body. You think you're the body. The body will not continue, unfortunately or fortunately. It's the children which will continue, and the grandchildren and so on and so forth, but not me, the body. I will die if I think I'm the body. And everything else, building a business empire, making scientific inventions, writing books, art, literature, philosophy, whatever we do, and of course religion. So for Ernst Becker, all that we are doing, including what we are doing right here, he would say, aha, you're trying to escape death. So these are all immortality projects. Now he was neutral regarding whether they succeed or not. I mean, all of these do not succeed, whether spirituality succeeds or not, he does not say. He's non-committal. He's a true psychoanalyst. But the claim of spirituality, every religion, is that, yes, there is a transcendence of death. There is an overcoming of death. That's what Buddha also found, that there's a solution to this, and he called it nirvana, the attainment of that. In Vedanta, it is also called nirvana, moksha, many words, transcendence of death. Immortality. But it's not immortality in the body. The body will die. You see, because of our tremendous body-rootedness, even when we talk about immortality, there is this slight hope. Can I survive like this? Which body do you want to preserve? The baby's body? No, sort of, what is that, forever 21 or something is there? Yes, the 21-year-old body. I want to preserve the 21-year-old body. Once, a few years back, I got a call from Hollywood, as in the movie industry. How would you like to be in a film with William Shatner? I said, yes, because I grew up in India as a little kid, and the only American TV serials we had when we were growing up, there was only one channel, and there were only two English serials, three actually, two American and one British. The two American serials were Star Trek, with William Shatner as the original series as Captain Kirk, and there was Mr. Spock and so on, and there was I Love Lucy, the other American serial, and later there was Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister from BBC, and that's all. And so they were hot favorites, and I would wait. I remember on Sunday mornings, I still remember waiting for Star Trek to come on. So William Shatner, Captain Kirk, who I would, of course, love to be in a film with Captain Kirk. And they said, all right, we have these series on History Channel, I think it was, The Unknown Mysteries of the Unknown, something like that. And there was going to be an episode on the long lives of the secrets of immortality, the secrets of the yogis, the secrets of why the yogis of India live so long. And they wanted to interview me. And they came to our ashram in Hollywood, and they did interview me. This, if I'm not wrong, was it the History Channel? It was the History Channel, yes. They came and interviewed me. Now, of course, I told them about Vedanta, that yes, you are, don't worry, you already are immortal. And the body lives and dies. They were not particularly interested in that. And I had to tell them I thought I have to protect the prestige of the yogis and tell them about particularly long-lived yogis. And who could I tell them about? Vivekananda won't do. He lived to 39 years. They would not be impressed. Shankaracharya will not do. He lived to 32 years. They would not be impressed. So finally I realized, Trailanga Swami, who lived in Banaras, and he lived to be 200 plus years on record. So there is some amount of record because it was the British government at that time, and they record seeing the person in different decades. So 200 plus years, some say 250 years or so. So that's a good example. And they'll be happy with that. And then I talked about Vedanta, that you are not the body, not the mind, so the immortality of the body is not the point. You are pure consciousness, which is not born, which does not die, so it is built-in immortality. It's a feature. You are immortal anyway. And when they finally aired that, they had kept the bit about the 200-year-old yogi and cut out all the Vedanta. So this desire to live on in the body, this is this just utter body consciousness. You don't have to. You are already immortal. He gives the example of the body coming and going. It's like, let me give another example of the pots of water. In a garden, there are different pots with water in them, and there is the sun shining up there in the sky. Now, if you look carefully at the water in the pot, in each pot in the water, you will find a little tiny sun, reflected sun, glimmering in there. So there is one real sun up there, and there are many tiny little suns reflected in the water in the pots. Now, the pot stands for the body. The actual physical pot stands for the physical body. The water in the pot symbolizes the mind, the subtle body. And the little sun sparkling in that water is the awareness which we feel right now. In Vedanta, there's a technical term, reflected awareness. The awareness which we feel in the mind right now. That's not pure consciousness. That's not Atman or Brahman. So that comes from the Atman or Brahman. So the real sun is reflected in that water as the glimmering little reflected sun. Similarly, pure consciousness appears in this mind as the consciousness which we feel right now, the empirical consciousness, the reflected consciousness, lights up the mind. We experience thoughts and emotions and so on. And through that, the senses are lit up. Then we have various conscious experiences of seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting and touching, thinking, imagining, and all of that. And through that, we experience the entire world. Now, suppose the pot is broken, cracked. The gardener comes and pours the water into a new pot and discards the old pot. And in the new pot, when you pour the water into the new pot, the water from the old pot goes into the new pot, and the glimmering little reflected sun will travel along with the water into the new pot. But the real sun up in the sky, that neither comes nor goes. It's just that it's completely unconcerned with what you're doing with the pots and the water and the reflected sun. Now, this is the example. We are the sun in the sky. You're not the pot. You're not the body. We are not the water in the pot. We are not even the mind. We are not even the little shining sun in that water. We are the one sun. How many little suns are there in the water? As many pots pots you have with water, so many little reflected suns you will get. But how many real suns are? There's only one. We are that one, and we appear in various pots with water as different little entities, conscious beings. When one pot is broken, when one body is dying, that subtle body, it travels from that pot to the other pot, from one body to a new body. It is reborn in other, and carries with it the characteristics of the water. So the water, if it is dirty, when you pour it into a new pot, it will still remain dirty. If the water is milky, you've got something mixed with milk, if you pour it into a new pot, it will still carry those characteristics. Similarly, whatever are the characteristics of this mind, this personality, these central features, not the details, incidental details, not the incidental memories, even though the yogis will say that they are there, but the samskaras, the tendencies are transferred to the new body. And along with that goes the empirical consciousness, the reflected. But Vedanta says the original consciousness, the sun, the one sun in the sky, you are that neither comes nor goes. When you realize that, let the pot be broken, let the water be transferred. What's it to you? To me, it's just fun. It's perfectly all right. So life and death, it cycles through. The attitude of the enlightened one is, Vivekananda says, once you realize you are pure consciousness, then it no longer matters how this body lives or goes. Let karma float it down. Vivekananda says, its task is done. Let karma float it down. Not that you will sit quietly. You may. There are no rules for the enlightened one. You may. Or you may be the most dynamic person. Adi Shankaracharya, the great master of non-dual Vedanta, who said the world is an appearance and you are limitless consciousness. But if you see his life, short life of 32 years, incessant activity. And if you ask him, oh, you're working so much, he would say, no, I am pure consciousness. I don't work at all. Yes, you can honestly say that. Each of us can say that. In fact, Vedanta will say it's already a fact. It's a delusion that we think we are doing something, going somewhere, speaking this or that. You are the awareness in which this movie of life is playing out. The screen of awareness. If you see a horror movie or a comedy or a science fiction movie, the screen will say, I never went into space. I never became a ghost and said boo to anybody. I am just the screen. And yet, you enabled all of this to happen because you are that screen of consciousness. So this is what Ashtavakra is saying. Let this one particular body, this one particular pot, let it be cracked today, let the body die today, nothing to me. Let it live for ages and ages, for 200 plus years, like Trailanga Swami. It is nothing to me. Talking about Trailanga Swami, he was quite the character. There was an old Bengali movie about him, which I saw many years ago. I think it's available on YouTube now, I think. So Trailanga Swami, when he's around, I guess, 180 years or something like that, he suddenly tells his close disciples, that's it, I'm going to take a vow of silence. And he remained silent for the next 100 years or so. So I'm going to take a vow of silence, no more talks, no more instructions. And the disciples are heartbroken. No more Vedanta talks, what will happen to us? And he says, I've been giving talks for 100 years now. Now I'm going to keep quiet. I've given talks to you and your father and your grandfather and your great-grandfather. And that's it. There are so many interesting stories. He would sometimes lie, he would live in Benares. He lived in Benares. He would lie on the burning sands on the bank of the Ganga. It's extremely hot. It's 120 degrees, 45 degrees Celsius or more, nearly 47, 48. And he would lie. He just wore a loincloth, and sometimes he was stark naked, and he would lie on that burning sand as if it were nothing to him. Sometimes they would see him, he was huge. They would see him floating on the river, up and down with the... He would just lie like this and float back and forth on the river. The British government there, they said he's walking around naked. This is indecent exposure. So they locked him up. They put him in the jail. And in the evening, when he would take his evening walk, they found this huge naked man walking on the roof of the prison, taking an evening walk. They rushed to the cell where he was sitting calmly. And they were confounded. How can he be on the roof and in the cell at the same time? So they just gave up and let him do what he wanted. So there are many, many such stories about him. Now, I'm going to jump to verse number 13 and 14. Two beautiful verses. Verse number 13. Ekasmin avyaye shante chidakashe amale tvayi kuto janma kuto karma kuto hankara evacha. From where will there be birth, action, and even egotism for you who are one, immutable, calm, stainless, and pure consciousness? Now, each of these words is worth meditating upon. This is like a portal into non-duality. Look at the word Chidakasha, the space of consciousness. It's particularly evocative because here we are in the space tent. Now, space-wise, Vedanta has this categorization of three spaces. Physical space, mental space, consciousness space. In Sanskrit, Mahakasha, this is physical space. The space tent is physical space, Mahakasha. And there is the space of mind, Chittakasha. What is the mind space? Right now, when we look inside, thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas, memories, desires, plans and projects, the sense of ego, all that is mind. And that's called the mind space. We are dwelling in the mind space. And then beyond that, Ashtavakra, all that Ashtavakra wants is to introduce us to consciousness space. The space of consciousness, that's our real nature. Chidakasha. So he says here, beautiful verse. Eka Chidakasha. One. This consciousness space is one. Now this is very interesting. Even physical space is one, but we can have locations in physical space. This physical universe is located in physical space. And in the physical universe, you have locations. Henley is a location, London is another, New York is another, Mumbai is another. So this is physical space. Here also it is one. And then you come to mental space. Here also it's one. In fact, each mind is connected to other minds. This is called the cosmic mind, Hiranyagarbha. Freud didn't like any of this, but his disciple, Carl Jung, he actually agreed with this idea that we have a shared mind. They are shared unconscious, rather, he would say, with archetypes and so on and so forth. The mind space, that is also one. But beyond the physical space, beyond the mind space, is consciousness space, which is truly one and non-dual. Eka Chidakasha. Avyaya. Undecaying. Physical space itself is undecaying. See, it is change and decay and falling apart and death are all in the other four elements. Earth, fire, water, air, but not in space. I have seen again and again. So monks in our order, they are cremated, and we have permission from the municipality to cremate them in the monastery in India on the bank of the Ganga. So I've seen so many being cremated. And I notice when you cremate them, the body itself burns up, earth to earth. The water, I've sat in front and watched how it boils and it sprays out into space. When the body is being burned, it's so much water there. And the air becomes superheated. The fire, of course, is hot. And the air becomes superheated there. You can't approach it when it's extremely hot. The body is burning. But the space itself is not affected. So doesn't it get hot? No, it's the air which is getting hot. It is the wood which is burning. The skin and the bones and all, they're burning. But the space is not affected. The air may get polluted with the smoke. The space is not polluted. When we talk about pollution, we talk about air pollution, water pollution, earth pollution, the ground pollution, river pollution. You never talk about space pollution. Space is not polluted. Space does not decay. And this is just physical space. The mind space does not die. Physical body dies, but our minds, the subtle body, like the water in the pot being transferred from one pot to another, the subtle body goes on, lifetime after lifetime, evolving spiritually, finally delivering us back to our real nature, the sun itself, the one consciousness. But the mind continues. It continues up to when? Not to till death, beyond death. It was there before birth. In fact, it is the mind which is undergoing birth and death. And it will continue until we attain enlightenment. Then it will go back to nature. So the mind space is also undecaying in that sense. And consciousness is the true undecaying one. It is immortal. It cannot be changed, therefore it cannot decay. Amale Shante. Amala means pure. It is not touched by karma. We will see how. Shanta. Shanta means peace. Not that you are peaceful. You are peace itself. He's not saying that Shanti. Shanti means peace, peaceful. The mind is peaceful, consciousness is peaceful. No, consciousness is not peaceful. It is peace itself. You are not peaceful. You are peace itself. The body can be still. The mind can get peace, can be peaceful for a while. But the body can move again. And the mind can become restless again. But consciousness is beyond disturbance. Consciousness is beyond restlessness. Awareness, the consciousness space, Chidakasha, no perturbation there, no disturbance is possible. Shanta. The screen of the movie, no matter how violent and dramatic the movie is, the screen is ever pure and serene. Tremendous things may happen in the movie, explosions and such. The screen is unaffected by it. Deluge and flood, the screen doesn't get wet. An explosion takes place, the screen doesn't catch fire. Similarly, birth and death come and go. Worlds are created and disappear. Universes come and go. The screen of consciousness on which this movie is playing, it remains unaffected. Shanta. From that perspective, nothing has happened, nothing is happening, nothing will happen. You are it. And yet everything, it makes possible the entire display of the universe. That's your glory. Shanta. Pure, untouched by karma. Why untouched by karma? It says, Kuto janma, kuto karma, kuto ahankara evacha. Where is ego, where is karma, and where is birth and death? So there's a link here. The link is this: when I have an ego, the ego is that which connects me to this body and mind. So I am this. And that's the purpose of the ego. Let's understand this carefully. What is the ego? It's easy to locate. Locate it right now, the sense of I. For example, you're sitting there, you can always say, I am sitting here. That I is the ego. And it's a function of the mind. And it's a perfectly legitimate function of the mind. In fact, in Vedanta, there's a definition of ego. Abhimanatmika antakarana vritti ahankara. The appropriating function of the mind, the uniting function of the mind is called ego. Appropriating function means, so lots of things are going on in this body and mind. The body is sitting here, is speaking, the mind is thinking, recalling, feeling. All of this needs to be tied together to make one individual. So the ego arises in the mind, it's a function. And what does it say? I am sitting, I am speaking, I am thinking, I am remembering, I am planning, projecting, enjoying, suffering. I. But the body is sitting, the ego is not sitting. The body is speaking, the voice box and the tongue and the lungs and the vocal mechanism, that is producing speech. The ego is not speaking, but the ego says, I am speaking, I am sitting. The mind is thinking. The ego says, I am thinking. Memory is bringing up old traces. The ego says, I am remembering. So the ego, this is the function of the ego. And it's a perfectly legitimate function, except for one thing. One deadly manufacturing defect. What is the manufacturing defect? Because of which we are all here. Because of which we feel we are trapped in samsara, we need liberation, we're undergoing suffering. The defect is precisely this. We think we are the ego. I. What do I think? I am I. It's as obvious as that. No, it is not, Vedanta says. You are not you. The ego is the person. You are not the person. You are the background awareness. This existence, consciousness place. Call it the immortal soul, the Buddha nature, the Atman, Brahman. That's what you are. That's what I am. But we completely forget that. And we think we are the ego. And whatever is associated with the ego. Mind is associated with the ego. I am the mind, or it's my mind. Body is associated with the ego. I am the body, or it's my body. This particular life is associated with the ego. I am. This is my life. No, you are not. You are that existence, that awareness which makes all of this drama possible. That's why Shankaracharya sings the famous hymn, 6 stanzas of Nirvana. The first line is, Mano buddhya hankara chittani naham. I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not the memory. So far, so good. Ahankaranaham. I am not the ego. Literally, if you translate, it translates into I am not I. How contradictory is that? I am not I. The true self is not the ego. Then only Shankaracharya can legitimately sing Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. I am pure consciousness, I am bliss, I am Shiva, I am Shiva. You are one with God when you step back from the ego. As simple as that. You're not the ego. One of our monks said it's like a person, like a scientist looking at something through a microscope and at the microbes and becomes so absorbed in it, has forgotten that he exists apart from the microscope. And all the world is what you see through the microscope. That is the ego, that microscope. We have become absorbed in this I, and we have forgotten our own vast self. And I remain there, lifetime after lifetime. You are not the ego. Vedanta attacks at that point. You are not the ego. In fact, if you look at all the yogas, all the attack is the ego. The Karma Yoga, very directly, selfless rather than selfish. All our actions are usually determined by the ego. I will do stuff in the world for I, me, myself. It seems no-brainer. If I act for myself, if I do stuff for myself, if I'll take care of I, most important person, I. If I take, but that's the ego. If I take care of that, it'll be fine. It won't be. It'll be fine for the ego, not for you. So what does Karma Yoga do? Selfless rather than selfish. Do stuff not for I, me, mine, but for everybody else. Or as worship of God, in whichever way. The Catholic Church earlier used to have, in all the books and in all works, for the glory of God. So all your activities are for the glory of God. Or all our activities are for the glory of all this massed humanity. In fact, Vedanta makes no distinction between this massed humanity and God. Vivekananda said, the sum total of all souls is what I call God. I believe in no other God. So this is Karma Yoga, but it hits the ego directly. Then my life becomes not for the ego as it was earlier, but for the glory of God or for the betterment of everybody else, in service to others. Look at Bhakti Yoga. That also attacks the ego. How does it attack the ego? It brings the ego close to a much bigger ego. What is that cosmic ego? God. The God, the greater I. It's like you have a line. You have seen that optical illusion, a line segment. And if you bring it closer to a much longer line, it looks much shorter then. Similarly, when I bring my ego in front of God, immediately become like this. In front of His Majesty the Lord, the creator, preserver, destroyer of the universe, I become like this. Bhakti Yoga cuts down the ego. Raja Yoga, meditation. In fact, the ego thrives on one thing, restlessness. The more we still the mind, the more the ego shrinks away. It has nothing more to do. Remember the original function of the ego. It coordinates activities. If you stop the activities, stop the body, even out the breath, neutralize the emotions, stop thinking, stop remembering, stop seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, still, quiet. Ego has nothing more to do except say, I am quiet. The ego begins to shrink when we are quiet. In meditation, the ego is diminished. Then, of course, Jnana Yoga, this way, the way of knowledge, where we directly attack the ego by saying, I am not the ego. Then what happens? If I am not the ego, every action done through the body-mind is no longer my action. It's being done through the body-mind. It's being done through... Yesterday, Sadhviji was saying that not what I am doing, what I want to do too, but what is done through me. What is done through me. That is the egoless action. If you do this egoless action, then it's no longer action, na karma. And if it's no longer action, the results will not come to you anymore. You'll be free of the cycle of karma. So he says here in the 13th verse, Kuto janma, kuto karma, kuto ahankara evacha. Start from the back. Where is ego? I am the witness. I am not the ego. Therefore, the actions which are done will not pertain to me. If the actions do not pertain to me, the results of those actions also will not come to me. What are the ultimate results of these actions? Births and deaths, the cycle of birth and death. And I'm freed from this cycle of birth and death. One more verse, then we will go into Q&A. 14th verse, another beautiful verse. Yatvam pashyasi tatreka tvameva pratibhasase king prithak bhasate swarnat katakangadanupuram. You alone appear as what you perceive. Do bracelets, armlets, and anklets appear different from gold? This is pure non-duality. Whatever we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, whatever we think about, whatever we love, whatever we hate, what's it? It's you. With a mask. Says, like gold and golden ornaments. When you see golden ornaments, do you not see gold? Of course, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the gold and the ornaments, but they are not two. The golden ornaments are nothing but gold. All of their existence is the gold. All of their value is the gold. The golden ornaments. Everything depends on the gold. See, what is the ornament? It's a name and a form and a use. The gold given a particular form, it's a necklace. A new name has been given, a necklace. A new use has been there. You put it around your neck. But the reality of that is the gold. Its use, its name, its value, all of it depends on the gold's existence. Somebody said, Swami, you don't understand how jewelry works. And the brand is the value. It's Tiffany. It's not just the gold. When you put the sticker on it, it's Tiffany, then it's 10 times more value. You can increase the price by 10 times. It's not the gold. That's wrong, Swami. I said, all right. You can keep your sticker. I'll take the gold away. Let's see how much value that has. No. Even to brand something and increase the price tenfold, you need the gold. So it's all built on the gold. Without the gold, no value, no necklace, no putting around the neck. Nama, Rupa, Vyavahara, name, form, and utility. They all depend on the substance. So he says, other than gold, what else do you perceive when you perceive a necklace? Other than yourself, other than pure consciousness, what else do you perceive when you see the universe? And this pure consciousness is you yourself. There's a story which I love. In ancient India, in a certain kingdom, a dramatic performance was, there was a theatrical performance in the court of the king. And they wanted a character in that theatrical performance. The character was the princess of Kashi. Kashi is Benares. So the princess of Benares, who's supposed to be a little girl. Now, who's going to play the princess? Now, the king had a son, the prince, who was very cute, and the queen said, why don't you dress him up as a princess? And he can play the role of the princess of Kashi in the play. And that's what was done. And he looked so pretty in the dress of the princess that the queen said, make a picture, a portrait of him in that dress. Nowadays, it would be a selfie, but in those days, the royal painter comes and the prince has to pose in the dress and paint him. Years and years pass, and the prince is quite grown up now and doing all sorts of princely things. And then one day, he is rummaging around in the cellar of the palace, and he comes across an old portrait. And he rubs the dust of that portrait, and he sees the most beautiful little child, a little girl, and it says the date of the portrait, and it says the Princess of Kashi, dated so and so, 15 years ago. And he says, oh, a princess. And he falls in love with her. And he says, she is my age. Obviously she is. She looks, 15 years ago, she looked like that, so she must be quite grown up now. And he wants to marry her. Now he is shy. He mopes and mopes. He doesn't tell anybody. He just sits and dreams of the Princess of Kashi. And the king and the queen get worried. Why is the prince suddenly so sad? But he's too shy to tell his parents. Now an old wise minister takes him aside and says, Prince, you can confide in me. What's wrong? Why are you suddenly like this? What ails you? And the prince says, I am in love. And the minister says, that's good. Who is the lucky girl? And he says, it's a princess. Ah, a princess. That's wonderful. Perfect match for you. Which princess? It's the Princess of Kashi. Where did you meet her? I haven't met her, but I saw her picture. Then the minister, who is a veteran, he says, wait a minute. Princess of Kashi, you said? You saw a picture? How old do you think she was? Oh, she was a child at that time, but it's dated 15 years ago. The minister says, can you take me to that picture? And so they walk down into the cellar and says, here is the Princess of Kashi. She's the one who's going to be my queen. I will marry no other. And I'll have no rest until I marry this princess. And the minister says, Prince, you need to sit down. You cannot marry this Princess of Kashi. You will never get her. Why? Is she married already? No. And then he tells him the whole story of the play and how he was dressed up as the little princess and how he was painted. And he says, oh prince, that you are. Tattvamasi, you are that. Now what happens to the desire of the prince for the Princess of Kashi? The desire disappears. But the crucial thing is, why does it disappear? Because he cannot marry her, that's why? Because she's already married, or because she does not exist? Why? The reason is, there is no Princess of Kashi apart from me. I am that. There's nothing here that has to be gotten. There's nothing that can be rejected here, nothing that can be lost here, nothing that has to be attained or done, nothing further needs to be done. I am already complete. That which I desired is I, me, myself always was. And here Ashtavakra says, Yattvam pashyasi tatra ekas tvameva pratibhasase. Whatever you experience, whatever you see, hear of, smell, taste, touch, whatever we have experienced in life, and whatever yet remains to be experienced in life, all that essentially you are. There's not one thing in this universe, seen or unseen, heard or unheard of yet, that you are not. That's why by enjoying stuff, acquiring stuff, experiencing stuff, we still feel empty. We still feel empty because that will not fill our tummy. That will not fill our hunger. The only thing that fills our hunger is our real nature. They talk about the God-shaped hole in the human psyche. We banished God. Nietzsche and his merry crowd, the death of God. In the 18th and 19th century, in modern Western culture, we have banished God. And now we try to fill up that void left by the old curmudgeon. We try to fill up the void with art, with science, with politics, with all sorts of good movements, all of that which is good. And yet, there is that emptiness. So the God-shaped hole, it's an infinite hole in the human psyche. It cannot be filled by the finite. Can't resist the old joke about the Buddhist theory of emptiness. The Buddhists filled the God-shaped hole with a hole-shaped God. Zero, empty, shunyata. Anyway, silly joke, sorry. The only thing that can fill it is nothing in this universe is the realization, I am all of it. I am all of it. This is the princess of Kashi. What we are running towards, trying to acquire, what we are running away from, trying to escape, all of it I am. And therefore, no temptation, no terror, no acquisitiveness, no repulsion. Be a perfectly equanimous and go about your business. Vivekananda, when he was talking to the great agnostic Ingersoll, who said, I don't believe in all your spirituality. I mentioned this, I think, day before yesterday, that I want to squeeze the orange of life, the last drop of it, because that's all we know, this life. I want to get everything from this life. Vivekananda says, I believe that too, but let me show you a better way of squeezing that fruit. I know I cannot die, therefore I am not in a hurry. I have no fear at all. Imagine the joy of loving everybody and everything as God. Live your life in that way. Squeeze your orange in that way. Get 10,000-fold more. Get every last drop. This is the philosophy of non-duality. This is Ashtavakra. I consider reading this equal to meditation. Sit calmly and read Ashtavakra. Not fast. Not with a desire to finish it. Vedanta, initially we might go through books, quickly finish this book and that book, but afterwards you come back to it. And when we come back to these texts, Ashtavakra, the Upanishads, Mandukya, and other Upanishads and Gita, you stay with it again and again, a lifetime. Let it sink, let it become yourself. It is yourself. It's a mirror to your face, your real face. It is showing us who or what we truly are. The traditional monks who teach in the Himalayas, they're very impatient with people who want to finish books. Spiritual masters are always extraordinarily patient, and one thing they dislike is impatience. There's a story of the master to whom a student came, maybe an American, who said, how long will it take to get enlightenment? And the master said, if you work hard, 20 years. And the student said, I'll work double hard, triple hard. Then how long will it take? 40 years. The masters in the Himalayas, I have seen examples of when they teach. One master I knew particularly, he was starting the class on the Mandukya Upanishad, the shortest of all Upanishads. But then the Mandukya Upanishad has 4 chapters written by Gaudapada on it, the Mandukya Karika. Then that's further embellished by the commentary of Shankaracharya. And then further on top of that is the commentary of Anandagiri. So you're starting quite a big book, the first class. And an eager beaver at the back, he asked, when will it be over? Kab samapt hoga? What are you thinking of? Course, plan, modules, stuff like that. And with a patient sigh, you can imagine the old master rolling his eyes. He said, completing it is not the goal. As long as the breath flows, Mandukya will continue. He says, समाप्त करना है ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है जब तक श्वास चलेगी Mandukya chalega. There's no such plan that you have to finish it. As long as the breath flows, Mandukya will flow. Another master was much more curt, less kind. He was starting grammar, Sanskrit grammar. And unless you are a grammarian, for everybody else, including me, Sanskrit grammar is hard and boring. But grammarians love it, just love it. So you're starting this class. In the first class, somebody asked, when will it be over, this text? And the master, who had a uniquely high-pitched voice, you leave just now, out with you. Yes. So we stay with Ashtavakra. We stay with the Upanishads until it becomes a fact for us. Let me do a peace chant, and then we'll go into some Q&A, the usual method. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Very good. Can we have a microphone here somewhere? Where is the microphone? Yeah. come up to the center aisle and queue up. And you will get the microphone from her. Tell us your name and ask a question. Yes.
Sorry. Hari Om Swamiji, I'm Uma Kamhampati. I had a question. So when we started with the body and the mind, you used the 5 rules.
Not rules, they're arguments.
Arguments,
Yeah.
the 5 arguments to negate them. Is there anything like that for the ego? I understand that the ego is minimized through Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga.
And
but,
meditation also.
And meditation. But are there any arguments that we can give ourselves?
Absolutely. You will notice all the 5 arguments, they work against the ego. Changing, unchanging. The ego comes and goes. For example, notice the ego is not permanent. The ego, suppose when you are playing an intense game of tennis or whatever you love, at that point, the sense of I will disappear for a short while when you become absorbed in some task. When we fall asleep, the ego disappears. It pops back in again when the mind comes in. So when the activities of the body are there, activities of the mind are there, the ego arises. In fact, the ego arises moment to moment. I, the unchanging, and the ever-changing ego cannot be the same. I am the observer of the ego. You can actually feel it like this. There is a psychologist in New York, counselor, Greg Good, and he uses Vedanta for his counseling also. So he devised an interesting experiment. We can all do it right now to see that we are not the ego. Now, do this. If you like, locate the ego. If I ask you, where do you feel I? Is it, start with in the middle of the body, the waist, below the waist, or above the waist? Do you feel I most prominently in the knee or the ankle? Where is the I? If you were forced to select, or do you feel it in the heart or in the head? Most of us will say, where are you exactly? If I forced you to locate yourself in the body, you just try it now. You'll feel I feel either, I could say yes, here or here. I certainly don't feel I'm in my big toe. So I am here, not there. I can say it's mine, but I am not there. I am somewhere here. All right, let's draw a line through the center of the chest. Where are you? Above that line or in the tummy somewhere below? And we will again say, actually do it and see, notice, see the felt quality of the ego. You'll feel either it's somewhere here or, anyway, it's above this. Draw a line through the neck mentally. Below this, above it. Suppose you feel that the ego is somewhere here in the face, in the head. Where in the head? Draw 2 vertical lines mentally like this, dividing the head into 3 parts, a central part, a left part, and a right part. Where would you say the ego is? Is it on this side or that side or somewhere here? And many would say, if you force me to say, I will feel I'm somewhere here, right behind the eyes, somewhere here. Suppose you feel, or you could have some other location, maybe here. Now, you have a location for the ego. Just stay with it. Location for the ego, stay with it. For me, I feel it here. Now comes the crucial move. If I feel the ego here, if I notice the ego here, if I intuit the ego here, then who or what is feeling the ego here? What is watching the ego? If I feel the ego here, doesn't that make the ego an object? I'm feeling it. I'm intuiting it. I'm instinctively feeling, yes, I am here. If you force me to locate myself, I'll be most probably here. And that's very natural because the head contains so much of our sensory nerves. The face is very sensitive. Our sense organs, eyes and nose and ears and tongue, they're all located here. That's why we have a sense. And the brain, So that's why we have a sense of being here. And the ego, it feels like here. But what Greg Good points out, what Vedanta wants us to notice is, the ego is clearly an object. If it is here, you're feeling it here. It's a thing. It's an activity. It's a process. But I am watching it. So that I, which is experiencing the ego, that's not the ego. You are not the ego. The ego is a thing. It appears to you. So that is a very clear argument to show that I am not the ego. It's an object. I am the seer. The ego is the seen. Right now, see it. It's here. But then what is seeing the ego? If you try to grasp that, don't. Because pure consciousness is not an object. You will not be able to grasp it. If you try to turn around and see what's seeing, you'll get a headache. Because you can never objectify that. Don't try. What one should try is to see that I am not the ego. And that is so freeing. That is so freeing. I am not the ego. And therefore I am not the activities of the ego. Then what am I? I am the amness and the I-ness. The I-ness is existence. The I-ness is consciousness. This existence consciousness, I am. Literally, I am means existence consciousness. But it's been hijacked by the ego. The moment it's hijacked by the ego, the function of the ego, remember, it's an appropriating function. It takes upon itself everything going on in the body-mind. The moment I identify with the ego, I will inevitably identify with the body-mind. And then you're done for. You're sucked into samsara. But on the other hand, if I'm clear means this very intellect. This intellect is surcharged with the knowledge. I am not the ego, it's an object. I am the awareness which watches, illumines the ego. And then go on through the body-mind to live your life. You live free. This is called Jivan Mukti. Free while living in this body-mind. Freedom from the ego. The other arguments, conscious, not conscious, also works on the ego. One and the many also works on the ego. Inner and outer also works on the ego. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Swamiji, I'm Ashvi and
Tell us your name.
Ashvi.
Ashvi. And
Yeah.
how old are you?
I'm 9.
You're 9. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Ashvi.
So I wanted to know how was Brahman actually formed in the first place?
How is Brahman formed in the first place? Okay. What Ashvi is asking is a very natural question. What is the cause of Brahman? If Brahman is the cause of everything, what causes Brahman? And the answer in Vedanta is, Brahman has no cause at all. What do you mean? That which has a cause is part of nature, or is part of Maya, cause and effect. But the reality of it all, it's like clay was made into a pot, right? Now you're asking, how was clay made? Well, clay was, let's put it this way. This pot, what was it made from? It was made from clay. Well, the clay pot, what was it made from? Well, clay is not a pot. Clay is the reality itself of that pot. Similarly, Brahman is not something that is made. Everything that is made or everything that appears, it appears because of Brahman. If you are asking how was Brahman made, you mean that there is something before Brahman which created Brahman. But then you can also ask that which is before Brahman, how was that made? How was that made? You must come to an end somewhere. Otherwise, nothing will be made. So there, when you come to an end, that is called Brahman. Yeah. So the answer to your question is that Brahman was not made. Everything was made from Brahman, or everything appears in Brahman. There is no cause of Brahman. Theologians, they call it the first cause or the uncaused cause. In fact, a deeper answer is Brahman was not made and nothing was made from Brahman. Nothing was formed from Brahman. We think that the world has been formed from Brahman. But even that is not true. Vedanta will say only Brahman exists. It just looks like the world. It's like saying even a clay pot. Look at it this way. We say that the pot was formed from the clay. But really, isn't it still clay? When you see a pot, what's it? Clay. When you touch it, what are you touching? Clay. When you look inside it, what do you find? Clay. When the top of it is clay, the bottom of it is clay, it is through and through clay. Really, nothing other than clay has been formed. You have given it a new form, new name pot, and you put water in it or something, or flowers in it or whatever. A new form, new name, and new use has been put to it, but nothing new has been created out of it. There's no new reality apart from the clay. Similarly, Vedanta says, at first it seems the universe has been formed from Brahman, but actually nothing has been formed from Brahman. Brahman alone exists, and you, Ashvi, you are that Brahman. Good?
Pranam Swamiji. My name is Lalit Parekh. And my apologies first. I've been following you yesterday as well, and that was my impatience. As the example you were giving, I had a question, and I just wanted to get the answer. Slightly longer, so I request your patience on that. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. I am the never-changing, never-decaying, constant witness, Brahman. Get the concept, and we dwell on it. Now, there are two possibilities, and my question has two parts, both based on two possibilities. First possibility, or rather most rare possibility, is self-realization or enlightenment or moksha. So you realize that Brahman, you know that, and you attain moksha. The second one, well, sorry, not this time, better luck next time, and you'll be born again. So my first question is, and I think you touched upon it slightly during the conversation today. If I am reborn again, it's not going to be this body or this mind or this intellect. It'll be a new form, a new Uber, as you say. What part of me is reborn?
Yes. Remember the pot and the water example? When the pot is cracked, the gardener comes and pours the water into a new pot. So what continues from this pot to the new one? What continues from this body to the new body? From this pot to the new pot, the water continues. And whatever was in the water, whatever ingredients, whatever flowers were there, whatever impurities were there, whatever dust was there, that continues into the new pot. Similarly, when this body dies, the subtle body, which is the mind, the intellect, the memories, the tendencies, and the ego, and the reflected consciousness, they continue into a new body, as they have come down from many past bodies. If your data is backed up into the cloud, if your device is damaged or destroyed, you are safe, because when you get a new device, a new iPad or a laptop or something, you can download your data again into that. So the device is like the physical body, and your data is like, the data backed up in the cloud is like the subtle body. So what continues? You continue. What part of you? That subtle body, the mind, the tendencies. Literally, the knowledge might not be available to us. The memories might not be available to us. In fact, the yogis say that even the memories continue into the new body. It's just not accessible to us. But the yogis can through yogic techniques. Patanjali says you can access memories of past births. And there's a lot of research in that, recollections of past births also. So that continues. Lifetime after lifetime, the subtle body continues. In fact, consciousness plus the subtle body is what we call jiva, sentient being. It's a sentient being who's born and reborn again and again and again.
Thank you. The second part is, if you attain moksha, then we say, well, you're not going to be born again. And in that case, and again, going back to the three arguments we were talking about yesterday, or rather the three questions were, what did he say? Do you understand? And can you evidence it? If I apply the same concept for moksha, is there a way to evidence it in the real world, can we?
You'll see for yourself. When you say in the real world, right now what's the real world? This for us. Vedanta does not talk about a theoretical Brahman. Vedanta talks about the reality of this world. Remember, always keep it real. Nose. When the child is asked, what's a nose? The child will point to it. Point to the reality for our own sake. When the Vedanta talks about body, here is the body. When the Vedanta talks about breath, here is the breath. I'm pointing to it. Vedanta talks about mind, memory. Here, for yourself, look inwards. Here is the thought. Here is the memory. That's what is mind or memory. The ego, point to the ego. Intellect, point to the intellect which is working right now. You point to it yourself. I can't point it out externally. And that way, point to the causal body, deep sleep experience we have. And then point, consciousness pointing to itself. Quote unquote point. You can't really point to it, but you are it. So you keep it real. Therefore, it is in the real world. In fact, what we are calling the real world will then become an appearance in that consciousness. After that, when we ask for evidence presented to whom? When I say, I want to see it, what does it mean? You want something to be presented to the eyes which consciousness will then use to experience that and say, I see it. When you want evidence, I want to hear it with my own ears. Then you want a sound to be presented to the ears, and consciousness will use the ears to hear that sound. So evidence is something that's always presented to consciousness, which presupposes consciousness. If you look at it logically, all evidence presupposes the consciousness to which it is presented. Does consciousness need evidence? Does awareness need evidence? No. What we are doing in Vedanta is exploring the true nature of consciousness. It's already there. We are all conscious. But our present state is, we think we are a bundle of body-mind consciousness. And Vedanta wants to tell you that you are not a bundle, you are unlimited consciousness. Consciousness not limited by a body, not limited in time, not limited enclosed in this space. Rather, time, space, all bodies appear and disappear in the one non-dual consciousness which you are. And this is not being stipulated. We are asked to think about it, notice it, knows, and come to see, yeah, it's a reality. In fact, all our sense of reality depends on that. How can that not be a reality? Yeah.
Thank you.
Namaste, Swamiji.
Namaste.
My name's Christian. I just wanted to ask you about a couple of the qualities that are required for liberation in Vedanta. So the first one is mumukshutva, so the intense desire for liberation. How is that born and cultivated? And second, which is just a quick follow-on, is Vairagya.
Vairagya.
Vairagya, sorry. That was a Freudian slip.
That's a Freudian
Sorry. Did you get that on camera? Oh my God. That's going to go on YouTube. Sorry. Okay. Yes. So dispassion for the world.
Yes.
Is that an effect? Is that an effect of mumukshutva or a cause of mumukshutva?
You're right. This is a very good question.
Thank you.
What enables enlightenment? If it is all that simple, if you are already it, if it is all that obvious as advertised, then why aren't more people enlightened and free? So you have to read the fine print. The fine print is this, what he's asking. What Vivekananda says, I know where the shoe pinches. It's not in Vedanta lectures or texts or Ashtavakra. So all this is straightforward. After some time, you'll begin to see what they are saying. You stay with it for some time, it becomes pretty clear. But why is it so difficult to make it real for myself? It's because of this. Vedanta asks for 4 entry conditions, qualifications. And only Vedanta asks for it, this non-dual Vedanta. The devotional paths don't ask. The devotional paths say, just come to our church, that's it. Just believe in God. Just start loving God. Bhakti. Just join our religion. And they're not wrong. Anybody can come and you can start anytime. But this, what we are talking about, is straight, powerful, direct, but it comes with some entry conditions. Without those entry conditions, which you just mentioned, this path will remain a very nice philosophy that I learned, a very subtle and very nice, cool philosophy. And with these entry conditions, it will become enlightenment and freedom. The same philosophy, the same teaching. So what are these all-important entry conditions? Mumukshutvam, he said, is moksha means freedom. Mumuksha in Sanskrit means the desire for freedom. Having the desire for freedom is mumukshutvam, being in the state of desiring freedom. An intense desire, I must, when they put it in devotional terms, I must see God. Sri Ramakrishna, he exemplified it. He was the priest in the temple of Kali. And he said, are you, O mother, are you just a stone image? Are you not living? You have shown thyself to the sage, the saint, poet, saint Kamalakanta, Ram Prasad. Will you not show yourself to me? And he prayed, and he worshipped, and he adored, and he meditated, and he wept. Every day, people saw him. At sunset, on the bank of the Ganga, this young priest would fall flat, weeping on the sand and rub his face on the ground until it bled. One more day has gone. Alas, the sun is setting, and I have not seen God. That is mumukshutva. And he did. Very soon he did. He had the experience, what he was looking for. So that is intense desire for freedom. Sri Ramakrishna was once asked, what's the one condition to become enlightened? And he said, Vyakulata, a restlessness, a great restlessness for God. God, enlightenment, Brahman, whatever you call it. Moksha, freedom. Now the question is, how will that come? I must admit, I don't have it. I have a little desire for freedom. A little, not too much. I can feel sad that I have not seen God, but I can't honestly fall flat on the ground and weep on the Henry grounds. This is the last day of the yoga festival, and I am not enlightened yet. Alas, alas, woe is me. No, I can't do that. It's not honest. Now, the question is, how do I intensify? If that's the condition, then how do I intensify it? Well, you're in luck. The 4 conditions, they are causally linked. Causally linked means one causes the other. So the intense desire for freedom is the last one. It is caused by the 3 earlier conditions. What are the 3 earlier conditions? First, viveka. Viveka means discernment. In all our books, including this one, the early Swamis translated it as discrimination, which is perhaps more accurate, but that's not a right word these days. There's a race discrimination and a gender discrimination and so on and so forth. So discrimination is a bad word these days. And if you say, what did you learn in Vedanta? Discrimination. To discriminate. No. What it means is discernment. Discernment means when 2 things are mixed up, am I able to separate them? Not physically, but in my understanding. Sri Ramakrishna would say, sand and sugar are mixed up. The ant can separate the 2. Milk and water are mixed up. The swan, apparently, can separate the 2. I've seen it on the river Thames. Not milk and water mixed up. There's beautiful swans. So maybe you can give it some milk and see if it can separate the milk. And be careful. All the swans here, I was told, belong to the queen. So they are all the queen's property. The swan can separate milk and water. And there is a third thing which he said, which is untranslatable. The people who speak Indian languages, they will know what I mean. Sri Ramakrishna said, Golmale maal ache, golti bad diye malti lo. Or in Hindi, golmal mein mal hai, gol chhod ke mal le lo. So it means, I don't know, what does it mean? In chaos, in a mess, the truth is right there. The substance is there, in the middle of the mess. Leave the mess aside and take the substance. This is viveka, discernment. What sort of discernment is being asked for? the discernment of the real and the unreal, of Brahman from the world, and inside us pure consciousness from body-mind. This rings a bell, what we did in Friday? All of what we did in Friday is viveka, discernment. I am not the body-mind, I am pure consciousness. This is step one, this discernment. It can start with the intuition. There is Brahman, there is an ultimate reality, and it's worth attaining. That much discernment is good enough to start, but must be intensified. The next step is vairagya, or dispassion. This is very important. Really what traps us in the world is our fascination for the world. Our fascination for the display of the senses. So much to see, it's so pretty. And so much to hear. And so much to smell and taste and touch. This display, the world display, the Upanishad calls it a golden disc which covers the face of truth. Now this golden disc one must overcome. Vairagya is a dispassion that there is nothing here that is ultimately fulfilling. Try it out. Your own great writer, Somerset Maugham, he said, if you single-mindedly chase pleasure, very soon you find nothing pleasing anymore. It's a wise soul which sees through the universe what it has to offer. You can still act in the universe. You can still be in the universe. You have to be. But now, not for yourself. Not for that it can offer me something which will give me endless fulfillment. It cannot. Only the divine can. Only the spiritual can. Only Brahman can. The ultimate reality. So this is vairagya. A tremendous dispassion for whatever is there in this world up to the highest heaven. None of it I want. None of it is pleasing to me. I know, I have seen through it. I will no longer go around in a world with a begging hat, give me happiness, give me happiness, give me happiness. I know. It's a show. When Buddha says, upon his enlightenment, he's addressing Mara or Maya. I have seen through your house of deceit. No longer will you weave these webs of illusion. I am free. I am awakened. I am free. I am the Buddha. In Edwin Arland's beautiful song of the Buddha, I mean, you should read that portion. So this is vairagya, dispassion. Then next comes discipline. And the discipline is, they're packed 6 into 1. A little bit of cheating there. Discipline, they call it the 6 treasures. The 6 treasures are very important. Quietude of mind, called shamaha. A control of the body and the senses. I remember once, in small ways, sitting and listening to a class when I was a novice, about 30 years ago. And the master, this old monk who was teaching us, one of my fellow novices, another brahmacharya novice, he had the habit of, sitting and shaking his foot like this. Sitting and listening and shaking his foot like this. And the monk looked at him, stop! What are you doing? Just the physical restlessness, still it. Still. Control the body, still the senses. The eyes want to see, stop. Ears want to hear, stop. The tongue wants to taste, the nose wants to smell, stop. The skin wants to touch, stop. The mind wants to fantasize, stop. The memory wants to exercise itself, dredge up old stuff, stop. Stop, stop. The intellect wants to weave theories, stop. But don't fall asleep, remain awake. That is damaha, control of the senses. Sense organs, motor organs. Then what happens? The next discipline is titiksha, a spiritual fortitude, toughness, a discipline that no matter what, I shall pursue. Come rain or sunshine, I will go to the retreat. Come whatever happens, I will do my daily reading of the texts of Ashtavakra. I will sit for my meditation. Come whatever happens, no matter. I have seen this in all the truly advanced practitioners, monks whom I've seen, whom I admire. This tremendous fortitude, of the ability to hold on for days and months and years and years and years, ability to hold on. Who's a big shot? A little shot who keeps shooting. Big shot. Then there is uparati. I mentioned it yesterday or day before, I think. Withdrawal. Not throwing yourself into the world. Withdrawal. Withdraw. Sri Ramakrishna says, if you throw milk into water, it will become diluted. Throw your mind into the world, becomes diluted. But what must you do? You collect the milk, let it sit until it becomes curd, yogurt. And then you stir it and whip it up until the butter comes out. And then take that butter and put it on the water, it will float. It will not get diluted in the water. Like that, the trained mind, which is first withdrawn, then turned into butter by meditation, prayer, inquiry, that enlightened mind, then you throw it into the world, it will float on the water of the world. It will not get diluted. What a beautiful example. But untrained mind, throw into the world, it will become milk and water. Then you need the swan to separate it. And then Shraddha, a faith in the teacher and the text. There is something to this, let me pursue it until I get enlightenment. So these are the 6 treasures. And then finally comes mumukshutvam, the intense desire for where we started. Now, here is the secret. They are causally linked. If I find that my desire for freedom, it sounds good, sounds great, I'm sold. I want it, but a little bit, not too much. And there are other things that I want. Then you go back to the cause of mumukshutvam. What was before mumukshutvam? The 6 treasures. As a bundle, try to generate calmness of mind, calm control of the senses, a spiritual fortitude for my practices, and so on. A withdrawal from too much involvement in the world, and so on. That's not working. I keep getting sucked back into patterns in life. Go back. Before that, what was there? Vairagya, a dispassion. What should be your attitude to the world? It's not fashionable. It's very monkish. But the attitude to the world, to everything in one's own life. I do not care. I don't care. There is something I care about. That is my spiritual progress and growth. Everything else, I do not care. If you take care of your spiritual progress, you will progress. Everything else will also be taken care of. And then, if that does not work, I don't have enough of dispassion. I have a lot of pull towards the world. Go back to what was there before that. Viveka, the discernment. As I discern, the reality of spiritual life will become very attractive to me. And I will see through to the hollowness of this world, like the Buddha. So they are causally linked. If I develop my Viveka, Vairagya will increase. If I develop my Vivek Vairagya, the 6-fold treasure it will keep increasing. And when I have these 3, mumukshutvam will skyrocket. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
1 minute. Let's have the question. I'll see if I can answer it rapid fire.
Swami, it is my pleasure that I have gotten up. I listen to you on the talks. You talk it so simply, the complex things, and it's a great privilege for me to be facing you in person today. So my short question is, I understand all the concept you explain it so beautifully, but what we need to do it in our daily practice to embrace it, in that I'm a witness, So conceptually I understand, but how to really get it into the experience? What daily practice?
Always I'll say those short and sweet formula for all this is Swami Vivekananda has stressed it again and again. A harmony of the 4 yogas. Regular inquiry into Vedanta. There is have a regular course of study, listening to YouTube talks and reading the books and thinking for yourself. 1. 2, a meditation practice. Morning and evening, sit for meditation. 3, a devotional practice. Many of us have a devotion to God. If you don't have, start a mechanical practice. If there is a God, I'm praying to you. So, even mechanically, but have a devotional practice. And then 4th, serve. Selfless, not selfish. these 4 things in one's life, this is where we begin. All of them, just start. Just start. Yes.
Thank
We
you.
already have started, actually. The very fact that we are here, we have started. I pray to the Lord to bless all of us. May these things which we read about, which we like, which we aspire towards, may these things become a reality for us in this very life itself. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you so much.
I'll just come up on stage.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swamiji, for all of your time and your support. There's nothing that we have that you need. So, namaskar.
Stop. He's watching.
He's watching.
He's watching.
Thank you very much. Isn't he wonderful? Swami Sarvapriyananda. And do you think that if we cheer loud enough, he'll come back next year? Come on, let's hear it.
Yes, I will.
He will. He'll be back. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.